Shabbat Shalom to you in here and to those out there. We are delighted to be gathered once again at Congregation Kol Ami to welcome the Sabbath and celebrate together as a community. As is our custom at Kol Ami, we like to start out with community. And so looking for Tov Uvracha, good and blessing reports from the community, things that have happened in the past week that have brought you joy, a sense of gratitude and appreciation. Anybody have anything to report? Betty begins.
I am in my apartment.
Mazel tov. It has been a long journey. All right. Now, she may be the last of our Great Plunge survivors who had lost access to their housing during the Great Plunge and now is back again. So that's great. Don.
We have a new air conditioner.
Oh. Just in time. Nicely done. Nicely done. Adrian?
I came in first place again, my John.
Aren't you getting a little tired of all this winning? No? Okay. Anybody else have a good and blessing to report? Yes, Becky?
The cats have 9 lives because one of ours decided to take a leap from the second floor down to the first. And other than a few broken claws, no broken bones.
Oh,
It's amazing how they don't do that.
I know. They are very impressive. All right, well, I'm glad your cat is good.
A new person that came by to see us tonight.
Yes, it's Iris, right? Iris, we're delighted you found our congregation, and it's great to have you here with us.
Thank you, and I was named after Isaac.
And you're named after Isaac. Very good. All right. So we can all get a good laugh out of that. That's a Hebrew English joke. Never mind. And of course, I have a number of wonderful things I could report, but like a man standing in the sunlight, I stand in the glow of our newest soloist. So Samson is stepping up for the first time. We are really, really grateful. And we look forward to having him get this congregation going musically starting now. No, not yet. I have a couple of more things to announce. There are a couple of things that we can think about week in and week out, and we begin with anniversaries. And we have quite a few this week. So this week, Marshall and Deborah Armentor, both doctors, celebrating. Wayne and Jennifer Goldberg celebrating their anniversary. Charles and Lisa Paley, he's a doctor, she's not. Daniel and Teresa Son, Andrew and Sherry Berman, Bob and Becky Leonard, doctors of hard knocks, and Paul and Sandy Silverlade. So mazel tov to all of them. We also have a couple of birthdays this week. Our poet laureate, Bruce Bond, Jacob Ekbar, our mathematician laureate. Matthew Polikoff is celebrating his birthday, as is Tracy Dower, and Deborah Gelman and Jack Spiegel. So we want to wish them all a happy birthday. I don't think we have anything else for good and blessing. So now I'm going to ask Samson to get us started with the Nigun, and then we'll light the lights of Shabbat. And now it's my delight to invite up Molly Marks, our newly minted ritual chair, Vice President Ritual, to kindle our lights of Shabbat. We're going to be on page 1 in our purple prayer book.
In the beginning, when the Spirit of God hovered over the darkness, God's first creation was light. As we light these Shabbat lights, we attest to the majesty of God's work and rejoice in its beauty. Light is a symbol of divinity and creative goodness. It is the outward sign of that inner spark which God has granted each of us. In hope and with love, we now welcome Shabbat with light. Oh, I'm sorry.
You don't have to be sorry.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
No.
No, we're good? Okay.
Yasher Koach, my dear, thank you very much. Praise to you, Adonai, whose presence fills the world, who hallows us with mitzvot and inspires us to kindle Shabbat lights. May God bless us with Shabbat joy. May God bless us with Shabbat holiness. May God bless us with Shabbat peace. Amen. We begin now with Kabbalat Shabbat, welcoming the Sabbath, and we're going to start on Psalm 95.
Lechuneranena, 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 Adonai. Lechuneranena, 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 Adonai. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu nikadma fana betoda. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu Bizimro narielo, lechuneranena, 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 Adonai. Lechuneranena, 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 Adonai.
Psalm 96 in English in the middle of the page. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth exult. Let the sea and all within it thunder. The fields and everything in them exult. And then shall all the trees of the forest shout for joy at the presence of Adonai. For God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and its peoples faithfully. We continue on the next page with Psalm 99. Ramemu.
Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtakavu lehar kodsho. Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtakavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Ramemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Ramemu. Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtakavu lehar kodsho. Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtakavu lehar kodsho.
Psalm 29 in English. Ascribe to Adonai, you children of God. Ascribe to Adonai glory and strength. Ascribe to Adonai the glory of God's name. And worship Adonai in the beauty of holiness. Adonai, give strength to this people. May Adonai bless this people with peace. We continue now with L'cha Dodi on page 7. And we reach the final stanza. We'll all be rising together. I'm going to put Mark and Harold in charge of being the ushers for welcoming the Sabbath at the final stanza.
L'cha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'cha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'cha dodi Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabelha. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabelha. Shamor v'zakor b'dibor echad, Ishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shemu tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabelha. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabelha. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, Ki hi mekor habracha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof maaseh b'machshavat hila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabelha. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabelha. Hitorari, Kiva orekumi ori, Shidaberi, Kevod Adonai ha'yiknigla.
Please rise.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabelha. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabelha. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam besimcha u'tohola, Tochem u'ne'am segula, Boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabelha. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabelha.
So come in peace, you crown of your husband, with rejoicing and with joy. To those who are faithful, a treasured people, come, O Sabbath, come, O bride. Psalm 92 in English, a psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to give thanks to Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak and your faithfulness each night, with a harp, with voice and lyre in unison. Sadiq katamar yifrach, v'keres v'levanon yizgeh, and the righteous shall bloom like a palm. They shall thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. We continue now with Hatzi Kaddish.
Yitkada v'yitkada shemei rabba.
Amen.
B'yama divrach hirut. B'yama divrach hirutei v'yamlik malchutei. B'cha yekan u'v'yomekan u'v'kayede kol beit Yisrael. Bagala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevara, le'olam me'almaya, yitbarak, v'yishtabach, v'yitpar, v'yitraman, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yithalev, v'yithalal, shemei d'gudasha,
B'rihu,
le'amin kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran b'yama, v'imaru, amen.
Some of us may rise in body, some of us may rise in heart, but please rise for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamavorah. Baruch Adonai Hamavorah. Le'olam va'ed.
We continue now with Ma'ariv Aravim. We celebrate the constancy of day and night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim. B'chochma poteach sha'arim, u'bikvuna meshane itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'msader et hakokavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kerotzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'hoshech mipnei or. U'ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, u'ma'avdil bein yom u'bein layla. Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. May God govern us always to the ends of time. Unending is your love for your people, the house of Israel. Torah and mitzvot and precepts you have taught us. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and rejoice in your Torah and mitzvot forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life and the length of our days. And then your love shall never depart from our hearts. Blessed is Adonai, who loves the people Israel.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam va'ed.
Please be seated. And now we respond with what God's love demands of us, the Via Hafta.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'kol nafshecha u'kol mi'otecha v'hayu ha'dvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shiftecha b'beitecha uvlevtecha b'derech u'shofecha u'kumecha u'kshartam al yadecha v'hayu totafot beinenecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Emet ve'emunah kol zot v'kayam aleinu ki hu Adonai Eloheinu. Ve'ein zulato, ve'nachnu Yisrael amo. True and enduring, beloved, precious, awesome, good, beautiful is this eternal teaching. This truth we hold to be forever certain. Adonai is our ruler, the rock of Jacob, shield of our salvation. Adonai our God, you redeemed us from Egypt. You set us free from the house of bondage. For this, the people who felt your love sang songs of praise to you. Living God, high and exalted, mighty and awesome, who humbles the proud, raises the lowly, who frees the captive and redeems the oppressed, who is the answer to all who cry out. All praise to God Most High, the source of blessing, and like Moses and Israel, we sing this song of rejoicing. Micha Mocha, ladies and gentlemen. Yai dai 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 pim
bam, yai dai 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 dai, yada dai dai bim bam, yai dai 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 dai, yada dai dai bim bam, yai dai 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 dai, yada dai dai bim bam. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha neder b'kodesh, norat hilot osefele, norat hilot osefele. Yai dai dai yai dai dai yada dai dai bim bam, yai dai 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 yada dai dai bim bam.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, b'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Grant that tonight we should lie down in peace, Adonai our God, and tomorrow raise us up, O Sovereign, to a life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace, guide us with your good counsel, and for your name's sake be our help. Shield us from hatred and plague, keep us from war, famine, and anguish. Subdue our inclination to evil. O God, our guardian and helper, our gracious and merciful sovereign, give us refuge in the shadow of your wings. O guard our coming and our going, that always we have life and peace. We praise you, O God, whose sukkah of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai hafores sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Once again, I invite you to rise according to your ability and your needs, and we continue with tefillah.
Adonai sefatai titaku fia gita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avotenu, v'Emotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekoneh Hakol, V'soker Kasdei Avot Chaim Avot, Umevi Kula Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo B'Yavha, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh Hakol Atavrav Tzoshiach, Mekapel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayeh Hakol B'Rachamim Rabim, Somek Noflim V'Ropeh Holim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem emunato vishenei afar michamo kabal kevurot umidomela melech memid umekayem umatzmiach Yeshua ne'emanata lechayot ako Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh Hakol, Atah Kadosh V'Shemcha Kadosh, U'Kadoshim B'Kol Yom Yalutz Nelah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
I invite you to be seated, and we're going to continue with our blessing for Shabbat, Yismachu v'Malachutacha. Got you back here. And so we're going to be celebrating. Those who keep the Shabbat and call it a delight shall rejoice in your kingdom. The people who sanctify the seventh day shall be gladdened by your goodness.
Yismechu v'Malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'Koreh Honeg Shabbat, Yismechu v'malechutecha Shomre, Shomre, Shomre Shabbat v'kore Honeg Shabbat Mekadasheh, Mekadasheh Shivi Shabbat Kulam Yisbehu V'yatangu metu v'cha Shabbat Yismechu v'malekutecha Shomre, Shomre, Shomre Shabbat v'kore honeg Shabbat Yismechu v'malekutecha Shomre, Shomre, Shomre Shabbat v'kore honeg Shabbat Uvhashvi Ratzita bo Ratzita bo Sorry. Ratzita bo v'kadashto Shabbat Chemdat Yamim Hotokarata Shabbat Yismechu v'malekutecha Shomre, Shomre, Shomre Shabbat v'kore honeg Shabbat Yismechu v'malekutecha Shomre, Shomre, Shomre Shabbat v'kore honeg Shabbat Zecher L'maseh Reshit Shabbat Zecher L'maseh Reshit Shabbat Yismechu v'malekutecha Shomre, Shomre, Shomre Shabbat v'kore honeg Shabbat Yismechu v'malekutecha Shomre, Shomre, Shomre Shabbat v'kore honeg Shabbat.
Great say, Adonai our God, show favor to your people and lovingly receive our prayers. May the worship of your people Israel always be acceptable. For you alone do we hold in reverence. And we give thanks to you, Adonai our God and God of our ancestors. You are the rock of our lives, the shield of our salvation in every generation. We thank you and we recite your praises. Let all the living affirm you and praise your name as the God of our salvation and help. Praised are you, Adonai. Goodness is your name. All praises to you. We're going to close out with Shalom Rav, asking for a lot of peace in our lives. And then we're going to meditate or pray for a few moments silently, and then we'll go on to Oseh Shalom.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Ki Atahu Melech Adon Lecho HaShalom Ki Atahu Melech Adon Lecho HaShalom Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam V'tov b'necha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol het u'b'kol sha'ah b'shlomecha Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Ose shalom bimrama, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'himru amen. Ose shalom bimrama, Huyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'himru amen. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu 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 ve'al kol Yisrael. V'maru amen.
Yasher koach, or as they say on Stitzel, shkoach. So, all right. I believe it was Mark Twain who said that a man who has one watch always knows what time it is, but a man who has two watches can never be sure. For the last 3 years, I've been a man with one watch. It's been clear what time it is, and it's time for quality bagels. All right, we've had a wonderful bagel shop for the last 3 years that opened here in Flower Mound, boil and bake bagels. Before that, we had Einstein's. But for the last 3 years, we've had one really excellent bagel shop. And now, this week, like an earthquake in the Holy Land, we are now confronted with a new challenge. There is a second bagel shop that has opened almost equilateral distance from the congregation on Main Street, Louisville, called Starship Bagels. Now, if that's not meant to seduce me into checking it out, I mean, that's, Starship, that's amazing. And they've come out and sought us out to cultivate us, and they've been very kind. The young man apparently is a graduate of Temple Shalom. He has a baker from California, and he's really looking to capture our business. I'm excited, except I have this very nice relationship with this lovely lady from Philadelphia who's been here for 3 years. She's not Jewish, but she's from Philadelphia. It's almost the same thing. And so, now I'm torn. Can Jewish tradition help us in this kind of conundrum? And it turns out it can. I actually remember studying this in yeshiva, and so I want to share it with you so that you understand that our tradition is always relevant. All right, so there, of course, are two sides to Jewish tradition. The Agadah, just sort of the opinions of people, the stories told by heroes of the past, demonstrated ideal behavior. And then there's halakha, the actual rules, Jewish law, attempting to apply a kind of sound universal Jewish ethic to our everyday lives. So what does this have to say? Well, first of all, let's go with the first Agadah I could find in Yevamot 78b in the Babylonian Talmud, which equates eliminating an individual's ability to earn a living with murder. Oi, now I feel bad. The stakes seem very high here. All right. Now, but let's go to the halakha. The halakha, the issue is hasagat gavul, setting a limit on the possibility of losing your income, or you might alternatively understand it as unfair competition. All right. The primary halachic discussion of hasagat gavul appears in Baba Batra 21b. This is the passage I remember from so many years ago. The Talmud records a disagreement regarding the power of an individual who has set up a hand mill, that is basically a miller grinding grain, in an alley that now is competing with another individual in that same alley who has another mill. And so the owner of the first mill is appealing to the rabbis. You can't allow this competitor to move into the same neighborhood. It's going to destroy my living. So, how does this work out? You know how this is going to work out, right? It's going to be an argument. Rav Huna asserts that the owner of the first hand mill may ask us to intervene to prevent the other man's moving in so the newcomer can't interfere with the first man's livelihood. Now, from an economic standpoint, this is a theory of economic scarcity, right? The idea that there are only a limited number of opportunities for people to make a living, and if you split up that limited resource, you get a smaller slice of the pie, right? On the other hand, the other Rav Huna, I don't know why two Rav Hunas are arguing, but they're both there. This one's Rav Huna, the son of Rabbi Yehoshua, adopts the position that the potential competitor may claim, whoever will come to my mill will come to me. Whoever will go to your mill will go to you. Okay, clearly that's more of a capitalist view of economics, an idea that there will be enough business that we will generate in order for both of us. The Talmud ends up suggesting, but not completely clear, that Rav Huna wins. Doesn't that settle it? No, it's actually Rav Huna bar Yehoshua. All right, that is the Rabbi Huna who is more capitalist. That's the majority opinion, not in the Talmud, which doesn't settle the argument, but in the Tosafot, the additions to Baba Batra that are published a few centuries later. Now, following the principle that we follow the majority opinion, virtually all of the early authorities rule in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Huna, the son of Rav Yehoshua. So we're in good shape here. Two businesses can, in fact, coexist with each other. So far, so good. These Rishonim include the Rif, who was the great early French halachas before we got Rashi. The Shulchan Aruch, coming out of Turkey, and its commentaries rule in accordance with these authorities. It would seem that the halakha, on the face of it, sanctions unrestricted free enterprise. However, it does develop a minority school of thought regarding this issue from the time of the earliest rabbinic authorities, disputing to what extent the halakha permits unrestricted competition. There are certain impositions that can be imposed in order to keep the competition fair. The dispute accordingly remains sort of semi-unresolved. Pragmatically speaking, the ruling on a particular issue regarding Haska'at Gavul will depend on who the rabbis are who hear the case and which school of thought regarding this issue they happen to believe is correct. But as a general rule, two competing places may exist. It should be noted that the changing patterns in the geography of business in modern times have had an impact on the halakhic discussion about competition. The image of the alley suggests a local neighborhood where people are in walking distance. Many businesses today do not serve only the neighborhood in which they are located. The Tel Aviv District Court has ruled that competition between insurance agents should not be restricted at all because the insurance industry is not a neighborhood-based field. In insurance, one agent cannot encroach inappropriately on the neighborhood of another agent, which we find in Peskei Din Ravaim 513. Yeah, I found that one. Thus, even though Rav Huna, the son of Rav Hoshua, believes that someone from a different neighborhood cannot intrude on the business of another neighborhood today, each business must be individually evaluated to see if this rule is still relevant for that particular industry. Which brings us back to the second Agadah, the second opinion I found, which is, this appears in Makot 24a. The Talmud records that King David outlines the fundamental principles on which a successful Jewish community should be founded. One of these is not to compete with another individual's business. So there we have a out and out complaint against the idea of competition. These passages, I mean, King David, he's not chopped liver. Right? We have to take him seriously. These passages are to a great extent the reason that at least one school of halakhic adjudication prefers restricting business competition to a great extent. Despite the fact that the halakhic sections of the Talmud and most ruling follows, there seems to be some hesitation on this matter. And though Agadic passages are not binding, they nonetheless add an additional tone that some rabbis adopt regarding a particular issue. But that's all just a smokescreen, because we're not really talking about intervening and saying you can't open a business here or there. This is entirely from the perspective of two competitors. Should I, as the rabbi, go to Starship Bagels and say, if you can move yourself 2 more miles closer to I-35, there'll be no problem? No, that's not what's going on. We're actually looking at this from the consumer's point of view. Right? And that's a different issue. So everything I've said up to now, you can ignore. From the perspective of consumers, all the recent Orthodox halakha, and I find this in Grot Moshe, the famous writings of Moshe Feinstein, the most influential American ultra-Orthodox rabbi, it is pretty clear that you should buy from a Jewish business. All right. So now the situation is clear. Philadelphia is not enough. It should be a Jew if given the choice. And this young man says he's a Jew. He's from Temple Shalom. So we're bound. Except he adds a couple of provisos. One, you should buy from a Jewish business as long as the change does not awaken anti-Semitic animus on behalf of non-Jews. All right, so this is one we have to weigh in here. But I think the real clincher is, and the product is of equal quality. So what does that mean? It means Jews, we need to go with our gut. All right, literally we need to go with our gut. If the products are of equal quality, then we should show some favor towards the Jewish baker. If, however, we determine that they are not of equal quality, all bets are off. All right. So look I, for one, have already sort of decided that I'm going to divide my time between this because I think there's enough economic resources within me as far as bagels are concerned to contribute to both of these and sustain them. However, for each of us, our taste buds must decide. While it's nice to favor a landsman, a Jew, equality it's the ultimate arbiter, right? So we have to decide this. Luckily for us, how many people here have had the boil and bake bagel? Yeah, most of the people in this room. Okay, so we are fortunate that Starship Bagels Bakery brought us bagels. Now, of course, we have not formally renewed the idea of oneg right now. So this is not an oneg. This is a taste test. And it is a taste test of absolute maximum flexibility. If you would like to stay and eat your bagel, that's great. If you would like to take your bagel on the road and not worry about having cross-contamination with other Jews or other bagels, that's fine by me. All right? So you get your choice, but they're waiting for us when we're all done. Okay? And just so that you can see, here we have, this is boil and bake bagel. It's a very attractive bagel, but I wouldn't encourage eating it because I found it in the back of the freezer. It's been there for about a year. On the other hand, this is a freshly made garlic Starship bagel. I am not going to prejudice you in any way, but I think you should all pipe in, and if you feel you have a strong preference, you'll let me know. So, see, Jewish law is always relevant.
Do you have a preference? Okay.
All right. I am withholding judgment. You know, the rabbi, the great tradition in the Talmud says, go out into the streets, see what the people Israel are doing. So I'm going to defer my expert opinion, as extraordinary as it is, to listen to the opinion of the Jewish people. That's you. All right? And, but all in all, I think it's pretty exciting that we have two quality bagel shops now. Where our cream cheese overflows. All right. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to turn this over to our officer for the day, which is Samson.
Oh, is it me? I had no idea.
But no,
Honestly, didn't know it was me,
he's
but-
got control of this. The man is in control.
If I'm here.
All right. So Samson, you're still VP of the cemetery, right?
Yeah.
The Lord of Death,
I'm the
as you
Lord.
like to
Yeah,
call
yeah,
yourself?
yeah. Lord of Death, VP
Right.
of Merchant of Graves, all those things.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah. Announcements. First of all, good Shabbos, everyone. Announcements. Taste of Judaism. You are invited to join us for 3 free classes exploring a modern Jewish take on spirituality, values, and community. Our classes are dynamic and interactive. Our teacher is accessible, engaging, and virtually impossible to offend. If you have friends or family that would like to attend, we have 1 session left. The session is made up of 3 meetings. The remaining session will occur on sessions will occur July 11th, 13th, and 15th at 7 p.m. You can get all of the details and sign up for the program on the website. I'm assuming that you are the teacher for Taste of Judaism. Okay. CKA Book Club. The CKA Book Clubbers are hosting Howard J. Smith, the author of Meeting Mozart, a novel drawn from the secret diaries of Lorenzo da Ponte. If you enjoy history, particularly 18th century history and the shenanigans of the emperor's court, if you love the music of Mozart, if you like mysteries, masquerades, opera, and spies, if so, you will love this novel that spans generations and even has a New Jersey deli as a locale. Come join us to find out from the author all about this book on July 20th at 7 p.m. on our Zoom meeting. Prior reading is not required, but helpful. Just come for the fun and the camaraderie of the CKA Book Clubbers. You can find the link on the CKA calendar on the website. If you do plan on attending, please RSVP to Deborah Kaufman so they can maintain a tentative head count. Vacations and office status. The rabbi will be on vacation from June 29th to July 7th. Bob is on vacation from July 5th to July 9th. As a result, the CKA offices will be closed July 5th to July 8th. Samson is on vacation from July 15th to July 25th. The rabbi will open the office on Friday, July 9th, and it will return to normal operation on Monday, July 12th. These dates are posted on the calendar on the website if you need to check them again later. As always, you can find all the specific details for these announcements and anything else you might need on the congregation website.
Missionary.
Well, that's what I was looking for, but it's not on here.
It's on the bulletin now.
Well, I don't have that.
It's hiding from you.
Oh, I didn't see that. It was back
That's
there.
all
Well, I got one over here. Okay. As is our tradition here at Kol Ami, we're going to take time to think of those in need of some blessing and healing. Is there anyone here who has a name they would like to add to the Misha Beirach list?
Sue Berger, Howard Hall, Tom Holiday, Marion Kaplan, Mike Nelson, Mike Brent, Terry Jefferson, Shirley Hato, Earl Baxter, Jay Harris.
May the one who bless our ancestors also bless Harry Anthony, Natalie Bovino, Michael Burke, Karen Buxbaum, Shanna Child, Maxine Collins, Sandy Cook, Dave Cook, Jerry Dietz, Pat Ducar, Gordon Ellison, Tammy Farris, Debbie Freed, Michelle Griffith, James Hart, Ken Hirschman, Jody Hoffman, Jeff and Lauren Kay, Deb Kaufman, Lauren Koenig, Alex Koenig, Susan Lee, Sandy Lesner, Ron Meyerson, Karen Moore Kankowla, Lon Neff, Herbert Paley, Paul Redwood Jr., Sandy Gardner Rubin, Adrian Sandler, Myra Schusler, and Michelle Renfro Tucker. Mishe Beirach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe Beirach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shleima, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
I think of two other announcements before we proceed forward. One is that tomorrow, before and after our Shabbat Torah and Tefillah, I am going to be at the first Flower Mound Pride Rally, which will be happening at Parker Square. I'll be passing out free mandarin oranges to refresh the crowd and showing my support for the queer community. And you're welcome to come out and hang out with me. I'm not representing the community because I don't think that's appropriate in this, but I want to be there. So I'll be there, and I look forward to seeing some of you around if you want to come out. And the second thing is that we are planning our Introduction to Judaism. It's going to be called Exploring the Jewish Experience. It's going to be 13 sessions, and it's going to begin August 31st on Tuesday evening. So if you're feeling like you need a refresher, if you're feeling like your spouse definitely needs to be brought up to speed, if you're thinking you know anybody who's just really curious to know about Jewish holidays and Jewish history and all the different aspects of our great tradition, have them sign up. We'd love to have you. And I look forward to teaching that come fall, Tuesday evenings. All right. With that, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to start to close out our service. I'm going to invite you all to turn to page 82. And there you will find Aleinu. And I invite you, please rise.
Shabbat Adonai, L'tech Gdula Yosef Reshi, Shelo Asanu K'goyer Haratzot, V'lo Samanu K'mishpachot Adama, Shelo Sam Elkeinu Kahem,
v'boraneinu v'chol amonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtakavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Turn the page. Shehu noten shamayim v'yosei haaretz, u'moshav yikaro hashamayim ima'am, u'shkinatu tov, v'govem meromim, u'Eloheinu Eino. Emet Malkeinu Efesulato, Kakatu Betorato, Vidata Hayom, Vihashevota, El Levavecha, Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim, Bashamayim Mima'am, V'ha'aretz Militachat Hemo. Bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai Echad, U'shemo Echad. Now is our time to think about those who have passed away. We recall with love and gratitude the names of those individuals that we've recently lost, as well as those whose anniversaries of death occur this week. We begin with Shiva. The congregation mourns for the loss of Elizabeth Cohen's mother, Jackie Tucker, who died this week. Is there anybody else observing Shiva? Anyone else lost someone in the last week? All right, we do want to also acknowledge the general tragedy of the building collapse in a Miami suburb. I understand there's also a sizable number of Jews living in that place. We want to think of all those people in this sudden and terrible tragedy that has befallen their families. For Shloshim, we continue to mourn Alan Strauss, the uncle of Michelle Tell. Is there anybody else who's mourning for someone lost in the last month? All right. And this week, our yard site list includes these people connected to our community: Ellen Burke, Ruth Gutler, Sarah Mead, and Rebecca Zamachow. I'm saying that right, Zamachow? Good for me. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we turn now to page 85. I invite you to join in sympathy for the, what's up? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't ask everybody for the yard sites. Forgive me. Yes. Thank you. Anybody else have a yard site? All right.
Philip Rosenbaum.
Thank you. All right, with that, ladies and gentlemen, now we rise. Page 85. We join together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah ve'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei b'chol Beit Israel b'galal v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbrach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudsha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata damiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba mim shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mroma. Hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort all the bereaved among us. And let us say, have a seat for a moment. We're going to close out in just a moment on page 93 with the Don Olam, but But we cannot allow this moment to go unrecognized. We are so grateful that you have stepped up to be one of our number of cantorial soloists. But more important than that, no, not more important, that's very important, but equally of importance, except for Marshall Armentor, who has only really led children's services, you are the first Friday night male cantorial soloist we've had here in 22 years. So we are grateful for you. We are grateful for your voice. We're grateful for your testosterone. There's just so many things we're grateful for. And so we want to say a celebration of this for the Shehekianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehekianu v'kiyimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Praise to you, Adonai, ruler of time and space, who has given us this life, sustained us, and brought us to this great moment. And let us all say, Amen. All right, come on up for Adon Olam, then we'll do Kiddush and Motzi, and we'll send you out for your bagel testing, which is not an oneg. So if you go to page 93, there's Adon Olam. On page 94, it's in transliteration. You're going horizontally across the columns as we sing.
So I did Adon Olam because it's Casey's favorite, but she's not here.
All right.
So. Adon Olam Hashem Allah V'terem kol yetzir nivra Li'nasa v'hestoko Azai melech shemo nikra V'hakare kiklot hako Levado yimlok nora Vehu haya, vehu hove, vehu yeh betifara, vehu echad, v'en sheni, lam shilo lehachira, beli reshit, beli tachlit, velo haoz, v'ham yisra, Vehu Eli, v'chayko Eli, v'tzorchev li b'yetzara, vehu nisi humanos li, menakosi b'yom hefra b'yado, avkid ruchi, b'yetishan v'hahira, V'imruchi giviati Adonai li v'lo hira.
Okay, all right. So I just got overwhelmed with emotions here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in sanctifying the Sabbath day, the permission God has given us. The day that he blessed, we too can bless. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava ufratzon chinchilanu zikaron l'maseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila la'mikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziyah Mitzrayim kivanu v'charta v'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava ufratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
L'chaim. Now, you might be thinking I'm going to say the motzi over these, but no. Unlike human beings, old bagels cannot be resurrected. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in blessing our bread before we go out and try out the real thing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Sir. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Oh, we're doing bread and bread.
We're doing bread and bread.
Bread and bread.
All right.
Let there be carbs.
It's like a double portion of manna that was given to us in the